All right, welcome back to the Renegade Report, and this is our final session. And what better way to have the final segment than with none other than our sports communication director, Brandon Urry. How you doing, sir?
Doing well, Kenny.
Good to see you, man.
Good to be here.
Well, I'm always excited to be part of the process, and thinking about how you set up the show, wanting to close out the legacy of Memorial Stadium, man. It was pretty emotional just preparing for the show, but I promised Spencer I wasn't gonna cry this week.
We're good so far, right?
We good so far, man. We good. So,
Good.
so, so, Brandon, let's talk about the process of going in to decide how we even get to the point to where we can pick a new stadium. How was that process?
Well, I mean, it was all, Measure J as that was passed and came along. Then, you know, this stadium was obviously one of the things that needs some improvement. If you look at most stadiums around the country, from, when they get built to how frequently they get upgraded with whatever that is, if that's in today's day and age, Wi-Fi, there's
Yes.
always, lights that need to get replaced. Those are things that happen that, will go down on you if you don't replace them, and just other things. So just looking at this stadium and in the time that it hasn't really been touched, I think in the late 90s they did some restructuring and reinforcement of the stadium. But really, other than that, since it was built, nothing's been done on this field or the stadium. So there's,
There's room for growth, right?
room for growth. We had that Measure J money, and this was one of the areas that we looked at. So, in making that decision to do field turf here,
Great
um,
decision.
that's I think will be beneficial. We'll have a field that's marked, and I'm looking forward to seeing that here on the field and what that's going to look like.
Absolutely.
And kids coming in and people coming to play us will obviously see our field and know they're playing on our surfaces. So playing to our advantage, I guess. So that's kind of how we got to be where we're at with even getting this stadium construction project done, and or not construction, but
Yeah, just
improvement,
the remodel. Yeah, so
remodel.
so
Yep.
so just thinking from my experience as a player, I joked with Coach Chudy, reflecting back to elementary school track meets. Like my first attempts at competing on a big stage were here at Memorial Stadium. I remember being a 10-year-old running the 100 meter, starting right down there, and taking like fifth place or something. Like I wasn't the
Flames
fastest.
coming off your feet,
Yeah,
right?
we were pretty fast little guys, but surrounded by amazing talent. So many talented athletes who've had an opportunity to grace this stage, and just thinking how special it is for me to be part of the process. Now for a third tier, is overwhelming at times. And I know you guys get tired of the praise, but I continue to remind you how thankful I am to have the opportunity to be part of the process. And just reflecting over some of the memories that I've had of winning two Potato Bowl championships here as a player, playing in front of 27,000 as a high school student versus Foothill twice, and winning those games, and just the nostalgia that's attached to this place brings me so much joy.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of that for a lot of people. I think that, goes through the community because, you were one of many of those kids that had those track meets here that played a high school football game here or whatnot, whatever it was, and since, 1955 when this place
Oh,
opened, those memories have been flooded throughout Bakersfield. So, we could do a poll and have somebody, so many people write their own little snippet of what their memory of Memorial Stadium is, and we could fill volumes of things with, whatever that is.
absolutely.
So it's just a cool place to have a lot of history made throughout the years.
Yeah, and I actually challenged my Facebook friends today to post a memory so we can talk about those in the weeks to come as the stadium
Awesome.
starts
Awesome.
to be developed. But, speaking of the remodel, and one of the things that first came to mind after we talked about it initially was how you guys were focused on the fans, our disabled fans that need to have access to certain areas, injuries that happen, and how can we assist with getting players off the field in a timely manner to get where they need to go, improving entrances,
Hmm.
elevators for people who want to maybe sit at the bottom and don't want to have to trek that what's that 100 feet trek back up to the top. So those are the things that show how much we care about what happens off the field, because it's not just about the athletes and the players, it's also about the community and the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they build stadiums now, a lot of those things go into the design of thinking of the fan entrance, exits, flows, how they're going to have the experience piece for them. But unfortunately, that wasn't really, when they built these stadiums back then, that just wasn't, something that they were thinking of, I guess. And
Absolutely.
I could be wrong. I don't know. These architects that, designed this stadium, maybe they were thinking of that. I don't know. But, just, yeah, thinking of, the field level to get up to the concourse here. I mean, I ran these stairs for some, a workout
Yeah,
on Monday. And, I mean, that's a lot of stairs to run from the
absolutely.
field level here to get up to the press box. So it's a good workout for anybody. And
Hey,
when you have somebody that, is handicapped and can't get down or upstairs, then it becomes a struggle to do that. So we want to obviously.
absolutely. Even for our coaches during broadcast, we're up top and we see coaches busting their tail to get from the top of the press box all the way back to the locker room to take part in the halftime show or in the halftime discussion and then run all the way back. One of my funniest things is timing. I usually pull out my stopwatch and time Coach Dean to see how fast he's going to get back up. I'm not going to
Well,
tell him that.
many a coach and broadcast personnel have broken a sweat. The guys on the field aren't the only ones because of that trek up there.
Hey, I've actually seen that trek up there get one of our producers. One of the
That's right.
producers actually
That's
couldn't
right. I heard
take
about
part
this.
in the game because he almost passed out getting up
That
the
was
stairs.
fall of 2017, right? That was
2017, yes.
before I had come to Bakersfield. I heard about that. Yeah. So it's you got to be careful. Safety first.
Absolutely. So let's reflect on your history. We talked about it before. You come from Nebraska, the Big Red. You're a Fullerton JC former player. But you had an opportunity to experience the biggest of biggest stadiums in Nebraska and Lincoln. I was a huge fan of, Tommy Frazier and all those guys and the runs they had in the
Tommy
90s.
Frazier was on this field this year. Can you? I mean,
Yes.
of all people to come,
What?
right?
And that's exactly what I was about to say. That's how special you are. You brought one of my favorite players of all time
I wouldn't say
to
I
the
did that.
state.
That was
Well,
our
whoever
coach.
did, I was like, wow.
Let me
Tommy
tell you how that
Frazier.
happened, right? I was sitting there that week, and I cannot remember which game that was this year, but I was sitting in the office. One of our assistant football coaches came in and said, "Hey, I need to get a sideline pass," and I said, "Okay." And Keith is the one that normally does that. So I just said, "Yeah, I'll help you out. Who's it for?" Just wondering, And he's like, "Oh, just a friend of mine from Nebraska." And I said, my ears perked up. Nebraska? Who are we talking about? And he goes, Tommy Frazier. And I'm like, you're not kidding me. You
What?
don't know where I just came from, right?
Yes.
So
Man.
I saw Tommy on the sideline down there, and I was like, hey, and I don't. This is not Lincoln's Memorial Stadium, but
Yeah.
this is Bakersfield's version of Memorial Stadium, and it's something special. So, and he had a good time here too. So, we had to give him some of our Big Red.
Well, I definitely will say this from his perspective. Me being a fan, I used to want to go to Nebraska after BC just so I didn't have to change colors.
So you keep this red
Yes,
on, right?
Yes, I just wanted to keep the red. They didn't recruit as well over here, so I didn't get that pass. But Tommy Frazier, all time, one of my favorite players of all time. So just talking about your influence on what happens now. Great spring, full of action. We didn't do recaps today, which is something that I missed. But just thinking about your influence and the way you've transitioned from, coming in as the new guy and just taking it and making it your own. It's been a joy to watch that, Mr. Fury.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've had fun doing it, and so coming to the end of this first year, I mean, no better way to do that than having a showdown here on the field and kind of talking about all the history here, I guess. But I mean, it's been fun to figure out ways that we can make Bakersfield College athletics more pronounced, more known in the community. Because it used to be such a huge thing here, and I see that in photos. Every time I talk to somebody, oh, what do you do here? And I work at Bakersfield College, work in the athletic department. Oh, when we get to talking about specifics, and then it usually comes out, well, my brother played whatever up
Yeah,
there.
whatever.
He was on the football, golf, track and field, whatever it was, And then they start talking about things, and I've heard all the stories of, band used to line the field here, and we played, from like you say, in front of 20,000 people here in the stands, and you think about that now, and it's a little bit different now, I guess. But there's all kinds of memories that come out whenever you talk to people about it, as I've gone through this first year.
Well, I definitely reflect on the emotion every time I hit the corner. I reflected on it when I talked to Stan Green about how emotional I get when I get to that stoplight. How when I walk down this hill, the sound of my cleats hitting the concrete gives
You got
me
some
this
of that
energy.
today, right?
Yes, I had the opportunity to hear that click clack today, and I swear I would have tackled somebody if they was fully geared out here too. I may
I
not
don't
have
I
got
don't
up.
doubt that.
I may not have got up after the tackle, but he would have been down. But just the opportunity to reflect on all those memories, and I had a chance to send a few shots of me and my teammates walking down the hill together. Had a chance to tag some of those guys in those photos on social media today, and just reflecting on the emotion that's attached to this building lets you know you're on hallowed ground, and everything that we can do to continue to raise awareness on how special this place is, I'm all forward. So use me up. Use me up, Yuri. So
Absolutely.
anything else we want to talk about as far as what's coming up in the spring? I know we start construction April 1st, but what else should we be looking forward to from Renegade Athletics?
Yeah, I mean, really, as our spring sports we're kind of right in the middle of spring still. Going to be going towards playoffs here, so we're hoping that a lot of our teams are going to advance into postseason competition. Hopefully, winning conference here. Softball's looking really good right now. They're top of their conference right now. Baseball as well is at the top, in the top half, I should say. And some other sports that are hopefully will get it together here and be able to advance into the postseason. So that'll be good to be able to publicize that and get those accomplishments known out there in the community. But I'm looking forward to really this project in this field as that's going forward to see how that comes together over the fall. So I mean, I'll be out here watching it, and I mean we have
Nice.
a plans of a quick video that's showing kind of the before, during, and after of this construction that'll come out in the fall once it's all done. So stay tuned.
Well, I was going to ask, what's the odds on us getting a camera that we can set up just for time lapse
And we
photography?
are going to do that. Yeah, we are going to have something on one of these decks set up so you can see the time lapse of what it looks like from,
Nice.
beginning to end as it goes. So, but including with that, getting some drone footage of what the stadium's going to look like after. And I think maybe Spencer, if you can pull up, if you have that drone footage.
We
But I'm kind of pulling it out on him here. But we had some drone footage of what it looks like right now, so we can kind of run that if they have that ready to go. But getting these shots. There you go. Of what this is what kind of that's the outside of the stadium there. Um, and
de-
then I think we got some as a flyby in the middle. But the grass right now, obviously, we haven't really done much to it since the football season ended. So it's not in tip-top
yeah, it's not in
condition.
peak
This is
condition.
not what you're going to be,
Actually, it looks like my
mid-season.
front lawn with some of these weeds.
Yeah, I mean in the track meet that was here on Saturday, there was a lot of people that are coming back and forth,
Mhm.
kids warming up in the midfield here, things like that. So, uh,
Well, one of the things that I had a chance to do this week was just reflecting with some of my players that I've coached. Talking about the memories that they've had. I had an opportunity to reflect on some of my memories as well. The two Potato Bowl championships. I believe we had a shot of me holding one of the trophies one in one of the shots, but the nostalgia never disappears.
yeah,
And it was just funny that my former players were joking and laughing about their one-on-one battles and who were better between the DBs and the receivers because these guys were from the 2005 team. They had no idea we had this show slated to talk about what Memorial Stadium meant. And here they are, 20 or 30-year-old guys now, fully grown, talking about what this stadium meant. And that's just how special this is. So, Yuri, I appreciate everything you do, and it's an
well,
honor
thank
to
you.
welcome you into the fold. And you stuck with us now, man.
I'm not going anywhere.
Hey, well, hey, this has been Kenny Calvin and Brandon Yuri with the Memorial Stadium Memory Lane edition of the Renegade Report. I will be in Missouri next week, but
Well,
hopefully
hold
we
on,
can
Kenny. But
sneak.
before we break here, we got to show them the picture of what this field's going to look like,
Oh yeah, let's
right?
let's let's get that shot of what
So
the.
so yeah, it's going to look good, and
Well,
we're excited for that.
well, definitely every year you find something to be jealous of as a former Renegade because we're going to keep making this place great.
It's gonna be good. Yep, yep. Always improving.
Absolutely. I wish we had Renegade Report when I was here.
And you hosting it, right?
Now that would have been
Between
cool.
class, practice, and everything, right?
Hey, I had the microphone in my hand back then too. It would have worked. It would have worked.
There you go.
But hey, I gotta tell you, never underestimate your impact, man. You know, from day one, you've been a great addition. You know, I appreciate your leadership and anything I can do to make your job easier. I'm on speed dial.
Well, thank you, Kenny, and it's been great being here. Love being here.
Absolutely. Well, this is Kenny Calvin with the Renegade Report. Special thanks to Sonia Christian, Coach Sandy Taylor, Director, Producer Spence and his team at Bakersfield.com, Todd Hanson, Keith Ford, but last but not least, Brandon the Fury Urry for assisting me with having a great show every week. We'll figure out how we're going to do next week's show, being that I'll be out next Thursday, maybe getting it in on Monday. We'll check in. If not, I'll see you the following week with more editions of the Renegade Report. And this has been the last of the Bowser Boys. Salute.